Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show Action Edition, where we feature feedback from you, our listeners. And I'm here with my old buddy Larry. Larry, what has been going on?
Well, John, there's been a lot of stuff going on, mostly stuff going on in the world. Been spending a little bit of time at the house, and so it's kind of got me thinking about some stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And at least here in Atlanta, the weather's starting to break, I guess we want to call it. And so anyway, so because we're spending so much time at the house, I decided I really was going to do a really deep dive into my to-do list. You know, the things around the house that need to be done. What are the things that are really, really important versus what are the things that might be put off, till later in the summer, things like that. And I do want to say in advance, John, right? Like every plumber in the world, my house needs a lot of work because the handyman's house always needs a lot of work, just like the plumber's pipes always leak, right? It's just the way it is.
Right.
So
cobbler shoes are always last.
That's exactly right. The handyman's house always lasts. So what, John, if you were going around doing your house, what would you be doing? I mean, I just want to see if we're on the same page.
Well, when you're kicking around the house right now and you've got all this time on your hands.
Yep.
Pull out a piece of paper and start to just put some stuff down where you want to get things done. Now take advantage of being having a little downtime.
Yep.
And don't make the downtime, unproductive. You can certainly do a lot of good for yourself with this time. I know a lot of people are working from home and all that kind of stuff. Always keep working from home, but you're right there. And when you start to look at things, just now's a great time to get the list out and say, man, these are the kind of things I'd like to do for
projects.
I would have liked to have done for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I've been really heavily prioritizing things. So it's kind of, and I would suggest this to our listeners, get out there and really prioritize things. If you see wood rot, just for example, on your windowsill, which fortunately I don't have any of that for once. But if you have wood rot on your windowsill, it's really bad. It might be time to prioritize that and get that fixed, right? Get the Bondo out, get that fixed up, get it done, get some paint on it before summertime comes, before it's so hot that you're out there going, why am I doing this in the middle of the summer? At least here in Atlanta.
Except for our friends down in Australia, down under.
Yeah, we want to do a shout out. We want to do a shout out to Sammy D. Sammy gave me he actually gave me a private message on Facebook, and he's got it. We're going to do a show coming up on his suggestion. So he wants to learn about sharpening drill bits and sharpening chisels, and we will get to that. But yeah, Sammy,
that'll be a good time winter project for him.
Exactly, he's going into winter, so we want to give a shout out. Got listeners in Australia. It's pretty awesome thing. Anyway, just out prioritizing. I'm prioritizing things that must be done. So one of the things at our house this year is we actually have to paint our house this year because it's just time. It's time to do it before it starts to become problematic. But in some of the houses that, John, when you're out there in the field and you're doing work for people, what are you seeing out there that people really need to prioritize?
Well, it always is the paint. The paint right now would be a good thing to look at. The other thing is to clean up your house on the outside with some bleach, and see where things stand actually. Because now you've got the weather's going to, at least here, it's going to give you an advantage to get some things done on the outside. Also, I know that the rains have really come down here, and they probably have in a lot of other places too. And if that's the case, now's the time to take a look at what kind of damage that water has done.
Yeah, and also fix your drainage while you're at it too.
Yeah, exactly. So do something about it. Now that you've got a chance to do it. And also, I would say that for people that need to hire somebody, now's a good time. If you're in a position where I used to be working from home and I had a couple of minutes spare time, that I could have some people over. If you need to hire a handyman or something, Hey,
yeah, it's actually a great time because
it's a great time to exactly. It's a great time to do that because you're home. You don't have to get off. You're not taking time off of work and those kind of things. So.
And as contractors and handymen in particular, we do not, or I do not anyway, come into contact with a huge number of people. In fact, largely, I really work alone for the most part. I think that's really true for you too. And so it's not like we're out really spreading anything around, other than really bad jokes and things like that. But we do that anyway.
Yeah, right.
Sharing some experiences, but it's actually, it really is a good time to support your local contractors because these guys are, this is economic uncertainty, right? And we know that in our case, that our jobs, still, we still can function, because we don't deal with a lot of people. It's not a big crowd. We're not going into crowded situations. We're working largely in small, very tiny, actually small places. John, that job I've been working on, I've been standing there alone for all day. It's like, well, hey,
yeah.
Look, a person. Oh my God, I could talk to
Right.
somebody. But anyway, we do that. So it's a good time to support your local economy, get your contractors out and shoot. They might even have some openings. I know I did have a couple of jobs canceled. I actually had one canceled from believe it or not, a healthcare provider, which was kind of interesting, but they basically told me they're overwhelmed and they don't want extra people in their facility. So it is what it is. It is the time. So John, anything else to talk about while we're talking about these special times?
No, I think that's really it. I think you get out there and you make a list and you become very observant during this downtime. Don't let this time go to waste. You can be productive.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Well, folks, we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Handyman Pros and get to become a part of the conversation. So actually, you can put your questions out there or give us an email at Handyman Pros Radio Show, or questions at handymanprosradioshow.com. So we appreciate it. We will talk to you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this podcast and have derived some value from it, here's 4 things you can do. 1, tell your friends about this podcast. 2, hit subscribe on your podcast player. While you're there, leave us a review. 3, subscribe to our newsletter by going to handymanprosradioshow.com and click on the subscribe button. We'll inform you of upcoming events, shows, and give you actionable tips for maintaining your home and property. And 4, send us an email with your questions to questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. That's handymanprosradioshow.com. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.